Hello, everybody. I'm Kat Barber from Michigan Associates of Acupuncture and Integrative Medicine, and joining you today on a steamy Wednesday here in Michigan. And want to just check in and see how everybody's doing. And how's your sleep? That's the big topic, topic of discussion these days with friends, family, colleagues, and patient. How's your sleep? Whether it's, getting too much sleep, whether it's not enough sleep, restless sleep, difficulty falling asleep, taking too many naps, or not feeling refreshed. And there's a lot of different factors in both Western and Chinese medicine that influence the quality and quantity of sleep. We're going to go over some of those as well as some different ways to optimize sleep in addition to acupuncture and Chinese herbs. So what's keeping us up at night? There's a variety of factors. It could be external, environmental factors such as noise, a dog barking, your partner, spouse, snoring. It could be anything from, the obvious one is stress, and everybody seems to be under a lot of stress these days, so that has a huge impact on quality of sleep. But other ones that a lot of people don't think about, and there's some obvious ones, medications. Different medications can keep you up at night, different supplements, different foods, greasy, heavy, fried foods can really impact quality of sleep, as well as eating late night, because it's just really difficult for the body and your digestive system to break down food when it's supposed to be resting. Some obvious ones would be caffeine and alcohol consumption. Caffeine being a stimulant, some people can't tolerate it even though they don't drink caffeine in the evening. Alcohol is thought to be a sedative, and yes, it can help with falling asleep, but it wakes the body up at night, and so it has a stimulating effect. Some other obvious ones, but we all do it a lot of times, would be watching TV or looking at an app, looking at our smartphone, doing work in bed. And then there's pain. Pain's a big one that keeps people awake at night. So just some things to think about. And, what's keeping you up at night or keeping you awake. The big thing about a lack of sound sleep is that it can have, far-reaching effect on every aspect of your health and well-being. So, sleep is the foundation of health and well-being. So a lack of sound sleep really affects mood. It creates irritability. It could really create even more stress. That will also have an effect on mental health. It can lead to depression and anxiety, as well as, really having an effect on memory, focus, concentration, which would then affect performance, productivity, and creativity. And overall, it creates a lot of inflammation in the body. And inflammation in the body can lead to other medical and health conditions like elevated blood pressure, as well as elevated blood sugar levels, heart disease, osteoporosis, and premature aging on a cellular level. So these are some of the different reasons for a lack of sound sleep. And we're going to kind of I'm going to transition into talking about, from a TCM perspective, what that looks like based on the principles of Yin and Yang energies, and why people wake up and why they get deep sound sleep. So in TCM, the Yin and Yang energies are based on a principle that they are interdependent yet opposite, and that they can transform into each other. And we can witness them in nature, everywhere, as well as within ourselves. So some different examples of yin and yang. Yang would be active, sun, like during the day. It would be movement, heat, and it would be wakefulness. So all activity, movement. So day and wakefulness is yang, and then yin would be the opposite. It would be darkness, it would be night. It's more passive, it's cooler or colder in temperature, and it's about sleep. So we think of sleep as yin and wakefulness as yang. And so when you're in bed and let's say you're drifting off to sleep, falling asleep, basically your consciousness and wakefulness would be yang moving up into the head. Yang rising, moving up into the head, and that's during the day. But at night, you want that yang to descend into the body where it can be balanced with yin, because this is the yin time. This is when your body needs to heal and reboot and replenish. So yang energy gets replenished through sleep, and both yin and yang follow the light of the sun. So when the sun's out, this is yang energy time for the whole world and for human beings. When the sun goes down, this is yin energy time, a time for rest and sleep and growth during rest. So when you're experiencing some type of poor sleep pattern, you need to really think about yin and yang. Is there too much yang activity going on? And if your yin is weak, which can be secondary to aging. Aging has a lot to do with sleep patterns and sleep problems, and don't I know? And that means the yin can't balance the yang, so the yang rises upward in the body, up towards the head, and guess what? Boom, we wake up. So we want to find a balance of both of those so that yang can descend in the body, be replenished for when you wake up, and then it's yang time, and that yin energy takes over for growth, reboot, and replenishment. There's a couple of different concepts with yin and yang with different organ systems in Chinese medicine. So there's something called the Chinese clock, which pairs all different organs, which are yin or yang pairs, and they have a corresponding time on the analog clock from 12 p.m. all the way to 12 a.m. So I've had patients as well as friends tell me, like, I go to bed at 9 o'clock and I constantly am waking up between 11 p.m. and 1 a.m. Or a patient will say, why am I always waking up at 3:30, like on the dot almost every night? Well, along with these organ systems, there corresponds specific emotions and different functions for each organ system. So, if you find yourself waking up frequently between 11 and 1 a.m., that corresponds with the gallbladder organ system, and that's the gallbladder's time to detox. So there's definitely some type of imbalance with the gallbladder. If you wake up between 1 and 3, that's liver time, and that's also a big detoxification time when the liver stores the blood and then it detoxes everything from the day. That was the yang part, so now it's going into the yin part. The liver needs to rest and detox. Between 3 and 5, that is lung time, and that's the big one that I've heard from a lot of patients and family and friends. I'm waking up between 3 and 5 and feeling a lot of grief, and the lung corresponds to the emotion grief, and no wonder with a lot of grief that's been going on during the past 2.5 months. And then some folks will say that they wake up like clockwork always at 5 a.m. and they can't get back to sleep. That corresponds with the large intestine organ system. So there's definitely some excesses and deficiencies and imbalances, and acupuncture and Chinese herbs can correct these. There's no two people are the same, and no two insomnia or sleep patterns are going to be the same. So they're definitely customized, and it's not a one-size-fits-all. So a couple of other organs that do come and play a huge part in sleep are the spleen organ system, which has to do with excessive worry, ruminating, and thinking. So, if you wake up and you're like, the wheels are spinning, constantly worrying, excessive, and you cannot fall back asleep, that's the spleen. The liver is, if there's irritability and frustration and some anxiety, the liver really moves yang energy. And guess what? The liver's moving yang energy when the liver should be resting during a yin period of time. That's going to kick up the yang energy, and that's going to rise up, and then you're going to wake up. That yang energy also can affect the heart, and the heart organ system in Chinese medicine is the monarch of the kingdom. So if you think of like the body as a kingdom with all the organ systems falling into the kingdom, the heart is the monarch, and the heart really needs to be peaceful and settled at night, and not agitated, and not woken up. It needs that yin time. So it can have an effect on the heart, organ system. And then, ooh, sorry, there's an ant on my table. And then there's the kidneys. Woo! The kidneys have everything to do with adrenal, stress, and cortisol levels. And if your kidneys are taxed, and they also have to do with aging, that can affect sleep. As I've gotten older, I've been experiencing some difficult sleeping patterns, and it has a lot to do with my kidney energy. So that's something that I'm working on through diet, exercise, Chinese herbs, and acupuncture. So that has to do with excessive activity, aging, cortisol levels, and stress, and that can really wreak havoc on sleep. A couple of associated symptoms with the kidney organ system, there is night sweats. It has to do a lot with hormonal changes for women. It can create heat and anxiety. And for the liver and the spleen, as I talked about, worry, overthinking, stimulating the yang, there can also be palpitations and disturbing dreams. So, I mean, it could be a variety of different symptoms. Sometimes people have every symptom: difficulty falling asleep, staying asleep, waking, tossing and turning, ruminating, excess worry, getting up to use the restroom, can't fall back asleep, and then, waking up periodically at different times of night and then not feeling refreshed. So some really cool ways to maximize sleep. And there are really simple tips and that you can incorporate is to really try and sleep in complete darkness. I use an eye mask. It's been a godsend for me. It really helps because I don't have blackout curtains. I just have blinds in my bedroom, so I need to wear something. Some people can't put something over their eyes, but it really helps to keep me sleeping. No electronics before bed. That's a really difficult one. But if you can put your, smartphone down, if you can put down your iPad, turn off the TV at least a good 30 minutes prior to bed, it's that stimulation that wakes up the brain, and that just keeps the brain going. And if the brain's going, more yang energy is going to be rising, and it keeps you awake. Also, keeping the temperature set between like 60 and 68 degrees is a really good range for most people because the body tends to cool down after a couple hours of falling asleep, and it adjusts to cooler temperatures there's been some studies that show deeper, sounder sleep in that range, in that temperature range, establishing a routine. And it's kind of hard now since, we've been in shelter in place, stay at home, and some people, including myself, have gotten out of their normal routine. And so it's easy to fall asleep on the couch, take a nap, go to bed early, or sleep when you can, or, go to bed late because you're doing a project or an activity or just not ready to fall asleep. But establishing a routine now more than ever is going to be great for longevity, for the foundation of health, as well as, there's that ant again, sorry. For the foundation of all health. Taking a bath, a warm bath, is something that's really nice and calming on the central nervous system. Not everybody has a bathtub. I found that soaking my feet in a bucket with magnesium or Epsom salts has been great and can really help get me to a frame of mind where I can fall asleep much easier. Reading, journaling, exercising, but not exercising too close to bedtime, but exercising regularly really helps to burn off stress, and it helps to balance blood sugar and cortisol levels, which play a huge impact on sleep patterns. Also, some natural supplements, magnesium, as I spoke of. I also take it in a capsule form orally, and I take it before bed. That's really helped with my sleep. It's a natural muscle relaxer, and it really helps to calm the body and mind and sync the brain and the central nervous system, and really help get you to that place where you can drift off. Melatonin works for a lot of people. Some people it doesn't. And there's another herb. It's a Ayurvedic herb called ashwagandha, which is an adaptogenic, which takes some time for you to see, consistently. You take it for a period of time, and then you start seeing the effects and how it really balances stress and sleep. But that's a wonderful Ayurvedic herb for sleep. let's see, don't eat, late night, which is something that I think we're all guilty of at times. You grab something, snack. The general rule is not to eat 3 hours prior to bedtime because it's just too hard on the digestive system, which is starting to be active, and that's what it's doing. It's helping to raise the yang, and so guess what? It can keep you awake or wake you up. Some other, I guess, alternative and natural modalities to employ for helping with sleep would be acupressure. My go-to is always right here, this point called Shen Men in the ear, just pressing on it gently, for about 1 to 3 minutes. That can really have an effect. Doing that in bed, or even doing it preemptively before I get in bed. Yin and Yang, which is right above the third eye here, that also feels great. That combination can really help. I have my husband press a point on the bottom of my foot that's called Kidney 1. It's not as relaxing, but you can press it, and I will be putting up a picture on our blog how to locate that. That has a huge descending effect on the yang. That can bring the yang down and help really calm and ground and prepare you for some good sound sleep. I also like to use essential oils. The usual suspect, lavender, which is a great one for sleep and stress. I also incorporate lang lang, which is this really cool tropical, fruity smelling, like kind of fruity, sweet smelling tropical flower that has a real calming effect on the central nervous system. And it's really great if for like that stressful ruminating, can't turn the brain off, difficulty falling asleep. And then there's bergamot, because bergamot helps to balance the left and right hemispheres of the brain. And that also, even though it has a kind of a citrusy, uplifting smell, it can also really help with stress, as I guess the stress of not being able to sleep. And you can also apply those in the middle of the night, or even take a whiff. I like to sprinkle it on my pillow. I will take a drop of whichever essential oil I have, and I will put that on my ear as acupressure with essential oil, or even here. You just want to make sure that your essential oil is already diluted in a carrier oil, so that it's not too strong or harsh on your skin. And then another really easy one to do is the 4-7-8 breath, and that would be breathing in your nose for the count of 4, holding for a count of 7, and then blowing air out for 8. You'd want to put, and you can do that I usually do that for quite a few rounds until all of a sudden I'm drifting off. Maybe if you've never done it and you want to practice that, you can, because it's calming and grounding. You can do it during the day, but you could do it when you get in bed, or do it right before bed for, let's say, 4 to 6 rounds. And you want to put your tongue right behind your teeth, like that. And then you just want to breathe in through your nose for 4, and you hold for 7. Blow out for 8, and you can just repeat that as many times as you like, and that really helps to distract you from not being able to fall asleep, or if you wake up in the middle of the night and you're restless. It acts as a natural meditation on the mind and body. So those are just a couple of my suggestions. We have plenty more at Michigan Associates of Acupuncture and Integrative Medicine. Lots of resources, lots of tools to help support you and your sleep, supplements as well. We have magnesium, melatonin, and ashwagandha. And then we also have, like I said, Chinese herbal formulas that are safe and are tailored to the individual, because not everybody's insomnia or disrupted sleep pattern has to do with the same organ system. That's where acupuncture and Chinese medicine comes in. We help diagnose which organ system or differentiate which organ pattern it is, and then we can create and tailor a treatment plan and treatment based on you, the individual, and what organ system is affecting your sleep. So just looking to see if there's any questions, and there aren't. I see that Jordan's watching. Hi, Jordan. My only fan that's joining me today. Awesome. So it was really great to be with you today. We are open at Michigan Associates of Acupuncture right now. Give us a call, 248-737-7126, or you can contact us at acupunctureinmichigan.org, and have a peaceful day.